In this Star Wars gaming news update video, I will be sharing with you what is coming this year. Before we do get into everything happening in 2024 though, make sure you do subscribe to this channel so you won't miss any future news updates on Star Wars games. 2024 has just begun, and for my first video of the year, I'm going to be covering everything that we know is happening this year, including new games releasing. To celebrate this new year, I'm also going to be giving you a chance to win ASUS ROG wireless earbuds, as well as a merch pack thanks to ASUS. The winner will also be able to pick the colour of their wireless earbuds. To enter, click the link down below in the description. I will now do a quick recap of last year and compare it to what is in store for us this year. Jedi Survivor released last April, and it has been a huge success. Many people have it down as one of, if not the best Star Wars game in their opinion. Star Wars Outlaws was also revealed in the summer. We got tons of gameplay, a trailer, details, and so much more. The Dark Forces Remaster was also announced, along with Minecraft Star Wars Path of the Jedi, which did end up releasing. Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga got a couple of bits of content. Star Wars Hunters received some major content updates. There were also a lot of other games getting Star Wars content, from Fortnite to The Old Republic, Galaxy of Heroes, Rocket League, and there were also some new details on the upcoming Star Wars FPS game by Respawn, Eclipse by Quantic Dream. Empire at War got a significant update. There was also a bunch of merchandise related to Star Wars games released as well. Whilst Jedi Survivor was absolutely incredible, we only got one game last year, and getting more than one game per year would be nice. And this year seems to be changing that up, because we should be getting 2 or 3. The biggest thing in Star Wars gaming coming out this year is the first true open world Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws. Whilst we don't have a release date other than it's coming this year, that's okay. We can expect to see Ubisoft and Massive give us at least another trailer, much more gameplay, and details in the coming months. Yesterday, I made a video on a quote from the official Disney Parks website that said Star Wars Outlaws was coming out late this year, but it was later corrected to say in 2024. So it may come out towards the end of this year, but at this moment in time, we just don't know. I made a really long video talking about what we can expect from this game based on their newly released Avatar game. It's the same studio, just a different team within the same building. Spoilers, this Avatar game has some real good stuff in, and if all of this makes its way into Star Wars Outlaws, then it's going to blow out any Star Wars PC game. I would really appreciate it if you could check out that video after you've watched this one. I am super excited for Outlaws because I know Massive have done such a good job with their games from Avatar to The Division. It's also going to allow us to approach playing Star Wars games differently. It's going to offer stuff that we've not seen before, not done in this level of fidelity, density, and really utilise the current generation of hardware. This game is going to be absolutely huge, I can feel it. Not just in terms of content, based on how big we know the maps are going to be, but also in terms of popularity. For example, in the past couple of days, a few articles from various gaming news outlets have released an interview with the narrative director, and even though these articles actually don't give us any new information, it's stuff that I talked about on this channel over 6 months ago when it was actually announced, these articles have kind of gone viral in the gaming community. Again, it's nothing new, so I'm not going to make a video on it because it's everything that we learned back last summer. But in terms of the articles going viral, it does show that a lot of people are looking forward to this game. People are clamouring for an open world Star Wars game, and they are going to be getting one this year. The game was also rumoured to release before April this year, but that was always far too ambitious by Ubisoft according to sources likely working on the game. If I had to guess when the game is coming out, I could see it's coming out towards the end of this year because big releases tend to get that later in the year release, and there isn't a lot of stuff confirmed to be releasing later this year, so it wouldn't really be completely drowned out. If it was to release in the second half of this year, then we could probably see a big gameplay showcase at Ubisoft Forward in summer just like last year. Personally, they should not rush to get this game out. They really need it to be a hit for Ubisoft as a company. They really are relying on this to make a lot of money, and Massive can't afford a dent in their reputation, especially a Star Wars-sized dent. Going back to what Ubisoft have been doing with the articles in the last couple of days, I do wonder if this is the first point in marketing for this year and they're going to drop some new bits of information in the coming month or so. Humbly, who is the actor 4K in the game, responded to a tweet I posted saying, "We got something special cooking up for you all, can't wait to share more soon." So hopefully we'll hear something in the near future. The game has largely been silent since Comic-Con, which I attended with Ubisoft back in the summer. I got to interview some of the key developers and give you some exclusive information about the game, but after that there has literally been no new information about Outlaws. It does make sense given that the game is potentially still a year away, and it also got internally delayed, most likely from April until a few months later. Given the increase in articles talking with the narrative director in the last couple of days, I do think they are making a statement saying, hey, this game is coming out this year and we're going to be starting to get marketing in the coming months. I've covered Star Wars Outlaws extensively, so if you do want to learn everything about the game, there will be a playlist in the top right hand corner of this screen right now that you can click on, and it features every single bit of information about the game. I've covered it in dozens of videos, and there's a lot more than you think, so I'm very excited to make more videos on this game when we do get that information, so be sure to subscribe for that. Next up is a game that's going to be releasing next month. Yes, in less than 2 months, the Dark Forces Remaster is coming out. This is the next Star Wars game scheduled to be releasing. It's a faithful remaster and it's set to capture the original game but make it far more playable on a variety of current systems, plus be silky smooth at 120 frames per second. I'm very much looking forward to playing and covering this game because it's such an old game that is not very accessible right now. You can really only play it on PC and it requires a bunch of mods to get it to work, which people just don't want to do. They just want to buy a game, download it, and play it. There are a couple of generations of people that have not been able to play this game properly. Night Dive Studios, who are developing this remaster, are all about game preservation. People are crying that there isn't a remaster of Battlefront 2 2005, and this Star Wars Dark Forces remaster came before it. But Battlefront 2 2005 is easily playable right now. If you have a PS2, and they're pretty easy to get hold of, you can play it. Same with the Xbox version, and it's also easily playable on PC. Not to mention, the game is also backwards compatible on the last 2 generations of Xbox consoles, and available digitally through the Xbox Store. And it looks fantastic in 4K on Xbox Series X and One X. That is not a game that needs preserving at this moment in time, nor a remaster. It's very much preserved. Dark Forces is not like that in any way. We really need to preserve games like this that are much older, and this game is fast approaching 30 years old. I'm very, very happy that they are going back to remaster classic games that aren't very accessible right now, and this will allow us to keep playing these games many decades into the future. Given that this game is coming out on February 28th, so in less than 2 months, expect a bunch of information to be coming out, along with the ability to pre-order, because that isn't possible just yet. Subscribe so you don't miss any future details on this game, as I will be covering it extensively as soon as details are announced. Another Star Wars game set to release this year is Star Wars Hunters. Yes, I know, this game was supposed to release in 2022, and then it was delayed multiple times, but I do feel like it's actually coming out this year, based on what Zynga and Boss Alien have been putting out in the last couple of months. We don't have an exact time frame, but I really do hope it's in the first half of this year, or even the first quarter of the year. I started playing this game in 2021, then took an extensive break, and since it became easily emulated on PC, I've been giving it a go, and it's honestly not that bad. It's simple, but I do think people looking for a multiplayer Star Wars game will be happy with basically anything right now, even if it's not the game they've been looking for. Yes, it's a mobile game, but it has a lot more budget than you'd expect, in my opinion. It's also on the Nintendo Switch and can be emulated easily on the PC. I did make a guide covering that, how you can play it right now. It has some real nice details in the game, and I can really appreciate the work that's gone into it. From what I can tell, Boss Alien are doing a stellar job, and it has been played by many people across the world since 2021. It just has not been released in the US, UK, and other big Star Wars regions yet. I'm very much looking forward to covering this game when it does eventually release globally. I think if you have a PC and can emulate the game, definitely do that so you don't have to play on your phone. As I mentioned, it's coming to the Nintendo Switch, and Switches are like the second best-selling console of all time, so a lot of people are going to be able to play this game because it's free to play and it's on the Switch. Plus it's on the phones, and there are far more smartphones in the world that can run this game than consoles, so that definitely aids it. I've actually been live streaming this game a few times and I've had a lot of fun, and I'm going to be live streaming it more when it does release this year. Sidetracking a little bit, but I do want to say that I want to live stream more in 2024 in general, because in the last couple of years since Battlefront 2 ended, I've just not been up for it. I lost the love for doing it. Battlefront 2 is what kept it going for me, and that game's done. I just want a new Star Wars multiplayer game to live stream, and that's what Hunters has done for me in the few streams I did last year. Live streams will be returning much more often in 2024, I can assure you of that. Make sure you do turn notifications on so you don't miss when I do go live. Next up is a re-release of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, likely coming out this year. Well, I assume it's coming out this year because 2025 just doesn't make any sense. Basically, EA announced in August of last year that Jedi Survivor would be releasing on the PS4 and Xbox One. This was an absolutely huge surprise to many people because it was touted as a next-generation game, and they talked how much they need the next-generation hardware to run the game. We've seen since launch that the game is very demanding and doesn't even run on high-end PCs. Partly down to its poor optimization. It's still a demanding game because it looks fantastic and a lot is going on screen at any given time. Despite the game selling pretty well, and there are a lot of consoles out there right now for this current generation, you know, there are over 50 million PS5s in the wild, EA are just looking to double dip on Jedi Survivor. I just can't imagine it's coming out in 2025, so that's why I'm putting it in 2024. It's not been confirmed. I mean, all they've literally said is that it's happening. It's been really, really weird. Back in August, EA CEO Andrew Wilson just said that they're working on a last-gen version. That's it. Even Respawn themselves have not even discussed this re-release existence. Seriously. This brings me on to something that could potentially happen, and I wonder if this does not even ever come out. Seriously. Because they could be working on it and then find that it's just not possible to do on last-gen systems. Sure, you can probably make it happen if you remove lots of the content that makes Jedi Survivor, but then it would look worse selling that. You know, if you downgrade it so much that it's not even really Jedi Survivor, then I could just see them cancelling this project. We also have no idea on who is actually developing this. Is it Respawn? Is it being outsourced to a different company? We just don't know. From a technical point of view, this is really interesting to me, and I really want to know how on earth they are able to get this game running on last-gen systems if it does release, because they are so underpowered, and on top of that, I want to know what it's going to look like and how it's going to perform. This could be a big seller if it's released fairly soon, but at the same time, so many people have a PS5 or Series X or S console now that it does seem a bit too late. If it releases at the end of this year, then you're looking at almost 2 years since the release of Jedi Survivor. It just doesn't make any sense. For all the people that care about this game, they will have already played it by then. I suppose Christmas time is when you could see the game being picked up by parents for kids that still are using last-gen systems, but it just doesn't really make too much sense to me if that's the only market you're going after. Because Xbox Series S consoles are so damn cheap. They're as cheap as buying a PS4 these days. I really do hope EA gives us more clarity on this project situation, and as soon as they do, I will make a video on those details, so make sure you do stay subscribed for that. Next up is another thing coming out this year, specifically next month, relating to Jedi Survivor. It's the art book, which is going to feature some absolutely incredible concept art and designs that weren't part of the game. It's releasing on February 20th, 2024, and you can pre-order it right now using the link down below in the description. If you pre-order using my link, it will help support the channel. So next month, This is when the art book's coming out, which is nice. It was actually supposed to release last May, and then it got delayed until December, which was then delayed until this year. I'm not sure why this art book has been delayed by almost a year, given that the game released in April last year. My hunch is that maybe the art book includes some content for the game that's coming in a future update. I really do hope my theory is correct because I want more content for Jedi Survivor. I do wonder if that's why there hasn't been any patches in the last couple of months, because we know from SteamDB that they've been heavily working on patches every week or so for this game, but patch 8 still has not released. Maybe it's going to be a big one. This is the longest time gap between patches, I believe. I really do hope that they add things like helmets and such, which I've showcased in previous videos from being in development before the game did come out. The art book has a standard edition and deluxe edition, and they both look fantastic. I've already pre-ordered the deluxe edition, so make sure you get your pre-order in because they will be selling out. And I'm making a video on this art book when it does release, so stay tuned because it's going to be fascinating to look at. Based on a new Star Wars game being announced pretty much every year for the last 10 years or so, probably even longer now, we are most likely going to be getting a new Star Wars game announced this year. We just don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to whatever is announced this year. We will also likely get some news updates on other Star Wars games that are in the works, such as Respawn's FPS game. I feel like that's probably the next Star Wars game to release after Outlaws. I could be wrong, but it feels like that's where it's heading. There was also an RTS game that was rumoured, as well as a few other stuff, so stay tuned. I don't think the KOTOR remake will release this year, which is a real shame, but hopefully we do get some transparent information as to what is happening. What are you most excited for that's been confirmed for 2024? Let me know down in the comment section below, as well as your hopes for this year. And if you enjoyed this video, please do drop a like to help support the channel. Subscribe so you don't miss any future videos, and if you did miss any of my previous videos, click on the playlist on screen right now, and I shall see you in my next video. Goodbye.